Well, greetings, my friends. This is the Calabrios. Now, it took barely more than a minute for a fight expected by most to last a full 12 rounds to end. No surprise, though, in the man scoring the one-punch KO is Haiti Canadian Dawson Stevenson, laying a looping left hand to the jaw of Chad Dawson. Not bad, Chad, staggering to his feet, was left once again to pick up the pieces after consecutive defeats, and his third of his career. Now, although the early defeat won't have the same effects physically on Dawson as the previous two, but the concern is what this defeat has done to him mentally. Defeat like this, a fighter moving up in the weight and considered by most to be an inferior fighter, can become a huge blow for a fighter's career. On the other side of the moral ladder is the jubilant, but judging his impeccable self-confidence, not quite surprised Donald Stevenson. Donald's Superman, had routed Dawson before the bout had even begun. Brawl nearly broke out at the weigh-in the day before. Routed him further when his trademark punch made exactly the guy Impact Stevenson had been dreaming about. Now, the WBC light heavyweight champion Dawson can suddenly start making the demands for his dream fights. At both 175 and 168 pounds. If he could still make the latter. Stevenson would likely face mandatory challenger Tony Bellew next. Now, although a big fan of Bellew, I see Stevenson as the victor in that fight. If Stevenson doesn't dispatch a Bellew, then look at the fight in Canada lies in wait for the winner of Lucien Jean Pascal. Now, then there's always the option of moving back down to super middleweight, where the likes of Carl Froch and Andre wore the weight. Now, all in all, the future certainly is bright for this quote Superman. The question now is, where next for Chad Dawson? Firstly, he must sit down, look around, see who's still by his side. And he must tread carefully, select the right opponent. And with any luck, he can regain some of his lost confidence. Regaining confidence is the first and most important step. As far as his style goes, himself and his team must start to look at ways he can change the way he fights. This isn't down to the fact that some fans find him boring to watch because, let's be honest, if he changes his style to be more exciting and gets KO'd all the time, no one would watch him anyway. Winning is far more important than pleasing. Simple as that. But as things stand, opponents are having far too much time to pick shots, move around, look like they are doing more work. And, because they are. Chad's best weapon is his jab, yet he just does not throw the punch half as much as he should. If he can keep his opponents at the end of his jab, it makes things so much easier for him to land the hard right hands. This may even generate a few knockdowns or knockouts. Variety of punches is also key to success. There's always a chance that Chad has a certain punch that may just work for him, maybe a left hook or an uppercut. Now, this is where Dawson needs to experiment in training. If stamina is a worry, then this must be addressed in training to ensure Dawson can work more without worrying about gassing. Finally, for Calabrios, I think Chad's footwork leaves a lot to be desired. Once again, this could come down to the fear of tiring himself out. But quite simply, the bounce back Dawson needs to be lighter on his feet. Bouncing around his toes constantly for no good reason, but just simply stepping around the ring more, maybe at a higher tempo. And don't allow patient fighters like Ward and Stevenson the time to pick their shots. Now, all this could sound very simple, but it could be very hard for a fighter to change the way they fight. For Dawson, this could be the key to changing his career around. One thing for sure is he is still a supremely talented boxer who is yet to fulfill that potential.